Education in Iran is centralized and divided into K-12 education plus higher education. K-12 education is supervised by the Ministry of Education and higher education is under supervision of Ministry of Science and Technology and Ministry of Health and Medical Education. As of September 2015, 93% of the Iranian adult population are literate. In 2008, 85% of the Iranian adult population were literate, well ahead of the regional average of 62%. This rate increases to 97% among young adults without any gender discrepancy. By 2007, Iran had a student-to-workforce population ratio of 10.2%, standing among the countries with highest ratio in the world. Primary school starts at the age of 6 for a duration of 6 years. Middle school, also known as first 3 years of Dabiastan, goes from the 7th to the 9th grade. High school, for which the last 3 years is not mandatory, is divided between theoretical, vocational, technical and manual, each program with its own specialties. The requirement to enter into higher education is to have a high school diploma, and finally pass the National University Entrance Examination, Iranian University Entrance Exam, which is the equivalent of the French baccalaureate exam. Universities, institutes of technology, medical schools and community colleges provide the higher education. Higher education is sanctioned by different levels of diplomas. Foggy diploma or Cardana after 2 years of higher education. Karshanazi is delivered after 4 years of higher education. Karshanazi-yi Arshad is delivered after 2 more years of study, after which, another exam allows the candidate to pursue a doctoral program. History of education in Iran. Modern education. The first Western-style public schools were established by Haji Mirza Hassan Roshdi. Amir Kabir helped the first modern Iranian college establish in the mid-19th century, and the first Iranian university modeled after European universities established during the first Pahlavi period. There are both free public schools and private schools in Iran at all levels, from elementary school through university. Education in Iran is highly centralized. The Ministry of Education is in charge of educational planning, financing, administration, curriculum, and textbook development. Teacher training, grading, and examinations are also the responsibility of the ministry. At the university level, however, every student attending public schools is required to commit to serve the government for a number of years, typically equivalent to those spent at the university, or pay it off for a very low price. During the early 1970s, efforts were made to improve the educational system by updating school curriculum, introducing modern textbooks, and training more efficient teachers. The 1979 revolution continued the country's emphasis on education, with the new government putting its own stamp on the process. The most important change was the Islamization of the education system. All students were segregated by sex. In 1980, the Cultural Revolution Committee was formed to oversee the institution of Islamic values in education. An arm of the committee, the Center for Textbooks, produced 3,000 new college-level textbooks reflecting Islamic views by 1983. Teaching materials based on Islam were introduced into the primary grades within 6 months of the revolution. Curriculum. Budget. Each year, 20% of government spending and 5% of GDP goes to education, a higher rate than most other developing countries. 50% of education spending is devoted to secondary education and 21% of the annual state education budget is devoted to the provision of tertiary education. Education reform. The fourth five-year development plan has envisaged upgrading the quality of the educational system at all levels, as well as reforming education curricula, and developing appropriate programs of vocational training. A continuation of the trend towards labor market-oriented education and training. With the new education reform plan in 2012, the pre-university year will be replaced with an additional year in elementary school. Students will have the same teacher for the first 3 years of primary school. Emphasis will be made on research, knowledge production and questioning instead of math and memorizing alone. In the new system, the teacher will no longer be the only instructor but a facilitator and guide. Other more general goals of the education reform are making the education more global in terms of knowledge, nurturing children who believe in the one God, providing a socially just education system, increasing the role of the family in the education system, increasing the efficiency of the education system, achieving the highest standard of education in the region. Teacher education. Farjadi University is the University of Teacher Education and Human Resource Development in Ministry of Education. Teacher training centers in Iran are responsible for training teachers for primary, orientation cycle, and gifted children's schools. These centers offer 2-year programs leading to a FOG diploma. Students that enter teacher training centers have at minimum completed the orientation cycle of education. Most have a high school diploma. A national entrance examination is required for admission. In order to teach 9 to 12 grades, in theory, a bachelor's degree is required. However, due to a shortage of teachers in Iran, schools have been compelled to use teaching staff with other educational backgrounds. Teachers are trained in universities and higher institutes. There are 7 teacher training colleges in Iran. Foreign languages. Persian is officially the national language of Iran. Arabic language, as the language of Quran, is taught grade 6 to 11. In addition to Arabic, students are required to take 1 foreign language class in grades 7 to 12. Although other foreign languages such as German, French, Spanish and Chinese are offered in most urban schools, English continues to be the most desired language. Canon Zabani Iran, or Iran's Language Institute affiliated to Center for Intellectual Development of Children and Young Adults, was founded in 1979. Persian, English, French, Spanish, German and Arabic are taught to over 175,000 students during each term. English language is studied in Ranamia, an equivalent for middle school in other countries. Middle school is a period of 3 years and it covers grades 6 to 8 for students aged 11 to 13 years old. The government is now considering teaching English language from primary school level. However, the quality of English education in schools is not satisfactory and most of students, in order to obtain a better English fluency and proficiency, have to take English courses in private institutes. Presently, there are over 5,000 foreign language schools in the country, 200 of which are situated in Tehran. A few television channels air weekly English and Arabic language sessions, particularly for university candidates who are preparing for the annual entrance test. Internet and distance education. Full internet service is available in all major cities and it is very rapidly increasing. Many small towns and even some villages now have full internet access. The government aims to provide 10% of government and commercial services via the internet by N2008 and to equip every school with computers and connections by the same date. Armandehi or university as a provider exclusively of distance education courses as a state university under the supervision of the Ministry of Science, Research and Technology. Higher education. As of 2013, 4.5 million students are enrolled in universities, out of a total population of 75 million. Iranian universities churn out almost 750,000 skilled graduates annually. The tradition of university education in Iran goes back to the early centuries of Islam. By the 20th century, however, the system had become antiquated and was remodeled along French lines. While the universities were closed, the Cultural Revolution Committee investigated professors and teachers and dismissed those who were believers in Marxism, liberalism, and other imperialistic ideologies. The universities reopened with Islamic curricula. In 1997, all higher-level institutions had 40,477 teachers and enrolled 579,070 students. The syllabus of all the universities in Iran is decided by a national council. As a result, the difference of the quality of education among the universities is only based on the location and the quality of the students and the faculty members. Among all top universities in the country, there are 3 universities, each notable for some reasons. The University of Tehran has 10 faculties, including a Department of Islamic Theology. It is the oldest and biggest university in Iran. It has been the birthplace of several social and political movements. Tabiat Modares University, also located in Tehran, is the only exclusively postgraduate institute in Iran. It only offers master's, PhD, and postdoc programs. It is also the most comprehensive Iranian university in the sense that it is the only university under the Iranian Ministry of Science system that has a medical school. All other medical schools in Iran are a separate university and governed under the Ministry of Health. For example, Tehran University of Medical Sciences is in fact separate from Tehran University. Sharif University of Technology, also located in Tehran, is nationally well known for taking in the top undergraduate engineering and science students, and internationally recognized for training competent undergraduate students. It has probably the highest percentage of graduates who seek higher education abroad. Canon University of Technology and Amir Kabir University of Technology are among most prestigious universities in Tehran. Other major universities are at Shiraz, Tabriz, Esfahan, Mashhad, Ahvaz, Kerman, Kermanshah, Babalsar, Rasht, and Urumiyya. There are about 50 colleges and 40 technological institutes. In 2009, 33.7% of all those in the 18 to 25 age group were enrolled in one of the 92 universities, 512 main or university branches, and 56 research and technology institutes around the country. There are currently some 3.7 million university students in Iran, and 1.5 million study at the 500 branches of Islamic Azad University. Iran had 1 million medical students in 2011. Entrepreneurship. In recent decades, Iran has shown an increasing interest in various entrepreneurship fields, in higher educational settings, policy making and business. Although primary and secondary school textbooks do not address entrepreneurship, several universities, including Tehran University and Sharif University, offer courses on entrepreneurship to undergraduate and graduate students. In accordance with the third five-year development plan, the Entrepreneurship Development Plan in Iranian universities was developed and launched in 12 universities across the country, under the supervision of Management and Planning Organization and the Ministry of Science, Research and Technology. Women in education. In September 2012, women made up more than 60% of all universities' student body in Iran. However, the numbers were not always this promising. This high level of achievement and involvement in higher education is a recent development of the past decades. The right to a respectable education has been a major demand of the Iranian women's movement starting in the early 20th century. Before the 1979 revolution, a limited number of women went to male-dominated schools, and most traditional families did not send their girls to school, because the teachers were men or the school was not Islamic. During the 1990s, women's enrollment in educational institutions began to increase. The establishment and the expansion of private universities, Danshgari Azadi Islami, also contributed to the increasing enrollment for both women and men. Under the presidency of Rafsanjani and the High Council of Cultural Revolution, the Women's Social and Cultural Council was set up and charged with studying the legal, social, and economic problems of women. The council, with the support of Islamic feminists, worked to lift all restrictions on women entering any fields of study in 1993. After the Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini and his new regime prioritized the Islamization of the Iranian education system for both women and men. When Khomeini died in 1989, under President Akbar Hashemi Rafsanjani, many but not all restrictions on women's education were lifted, albeit with controversy. The right to education for everyone without discrimination is explicitly guaranteed under Iran's constitution and international documents, which Iran has accepted or to which it is a party. Some scholars believe that women have poor access to higher education because of certain policies and the oppression of women's rights in Iran's strictly Islamic society. However, Iranian women do have fair access to higher education, as seen by a significant increase in female enrollment and graduation rates as women university students now outnumber males. Iranian women emerged to more prominent positions in the labor force, and the presence and confidence of professional women in the public sphere. The opportunities for women education and their involvement in higher education has grown exponentially after the Iranian Revolution. According to UNESCO World Survey, Iran has the highest female-to-male ratio at primary level of enrollment in the world among sovereign nations, with a girl-to-boy ratio of 1.22, 1.00. Schools for Gifted Children. The National Organization for Development of Exceptional Talents, also known as SAMPAD, maintains middle and high schools in Iran. These schools were shut down for a few years after the revolution, but later reopened. Admittance is based on an entrance examination, and is very competitive, especially in Tehran. Their tuition is similar to private schools, but may be partially or fully waived depending on the student's financial condition. Some NODET alumni are world-leading scientists. And other schools are selective schools, which are called Namor These schools are controlled by government and have no fees. Students take this entrance exam alongside with NODET exams. Organization for Educational Research and Planning. OERP is a government-affiliated, scientific, learning organization. It has qualitative and knowledge-based curricula consistent with the scientific and research findings, technological, national identity, Islamic and cultural values. OERP's responsibilities: 1. To research on the content of the educational, to study and develop simple methods for examinations and educational assessments, to write, edit and print textbooks, to identify and provide educational tools and the list of standards for educational tools and equipments, to run pure research on improving the quality and quantity of education, to perform other responsibilities issued by the OERP Council. Prominent high schools in Iran, historical and current. In alphabetical order: Abu-Rahan High School, Al-Borz High School, Al-Mahali High Schools, Alamatabatabeye High School, Baghir al-Ulum High School, Danshmand High School, Danish High School, Energy Atomi High School, Farzanagan High Schools, Firuz Bahram High School, Hadaf No. 3 High School, Imam Musa Sadr High School, Kamal High School, Mirza Kuchak Khan High School, Moffat No. 1 and No. 2 High School, Nikin High School, Rahyar Educational Complex, Razi High School, Salam High Schools, Shahid Beheshti High School, Sohail, Shahid Dastaib High School, Shahid J High School, Shahid Sultana School, Imam Ali High School. Statistics. In 2010, 64% of the country's population was under the age of 30. There are approximately 92,500 public educational institutions at all levels, with a total enrollment of approximately 17,488,000 students. According to 2008 estimates, 89.3% of males and 80.7% of females over the age of 15 are literate, thus 85% of the population is literate. Virtually all children of the relevant age group enrolled into primary schools in 2008, while enrollment into secondary schools increased from 66% in 1995 to 80% in 2008. As a result, youth literacy rates increased from 86% to 94% over the same period, rising significantly for girls. A literacy corps was established in 1963 to send educated conscripts to villages. During its first 10 years, the corps helped 2.2 million urban children and 600,000 adults become literate. This corps was replaced with the Literacy Movement Organization after the Islamic Revolution. In 1997, there were 9,238,393 pupils enrolled in 63,101 primary schools, with 298,755 teachers. The student-to-teacher ratio stood at 31:1. In that same year, secondary schools had 8,776,792 students and 280,309 teachers. The pupil-teacher ratio at the primary level was 26:1 in 1999. In the same year, 83% of primary school-aged children were enrolled in school. As of 1999, public expenditure on education was estimated at 4.6% of GDP. In 2007, the majority of students enrolled in Iranian universities were women. According to UNESCO World Survey, Iran has the highest female-to-male ratio at primary level of enrollment in the world among sovereign nations, with a girl-to-boy ratio of 1.22, 1.00. Each year, 20% of government spending and 5% of GDP goes to education, a higher rate than most other developing countries. 50% of education spending is devoted to secondary education and 21% of the annual state education budget is devoted to the provision of tertiary education.